Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games from the Game Pass collection, bringing you 3 unique perspectives of varying skill range. I am the rift breaker of this episode, Andrew. With me are windbreaker, Keith.
Excuse me.
And of course, our game breaker, Liz.
Hey guys.
And this week was my pick, because I wanted to play a game that I actually really liked. And I picked for us The Rift Breaker by Exor Studios. But before we start, I want to give a quick disclaimer about this game. This is a series game, so you're either going to have a Series X or a Series S in order to play this game. But if you listen to our news update episode, you should, if you are a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you can now play Cloud on your console. So for this episode, both Keith and Liz have played the game doing the Cloud over their consoles, while I actually played on the Series X. So getting into it, The Rift Breaker is a top-down shooter / strategy tactical tower defense game where you play a explorer arriving to an alien planet and you're trying to build a defense and essentially set up a colony for later on to be populated by the humans. Going around, Liz, was this a game or pass for you?
I knew you were going to pick me.
Yeah, because I was really curious about you.
For me, it's a game. I think it's really cool. But there were some things I really wish were a little bit different. Or even if just like the easy mode was a bit different. Honestly, like I got into it and then it'd just be so rage inducing very quickly. So I felt up and down with it. But overall, I think it's a cool game. I do want to add the disclaimer though that this is one of those games that Andrew probably hates that I have to play for the podcast because I had to ask a lot of questions.
A lot of the same questions.
No. So I didn't find it extremely noob friendly, but I picked up on it after a while.
I think ultimately I'm gonna give this game a pass. And it's another one of those, I don't really have a lot of bad things to say about it. By the time I was done playing with this game, I was done. And I had no desire to finish it, to get to the end of the game. It's just not a game that I enjoyed. I have a lot of things that I can give it high praise for even. It's going to be one of those episodes. I don't really have bad things to say, but it's just a pass for me.
Is this considered a tower defense game?
Yeah.
Because I thought Keith
loves
liked
tower defense games.
Yeah, we'll get into it. This is This is different than the tower defense that I like.
Okay. So for me, this is a definite game. I love the Rift Breaker. I think this game is so much fun. And my biggest complaint, it's probably not my biggest complaint, but I hate the cover art. I remember seeing the cover art for this game and I was like, this game looks goofy. And I just saw the trailer. And after seeing the trailer, but when this game was first coming to Game Pass, I was like, okay, no, this game actually looks really cool. And there actually is a prologue you could play before it came out, which is essentially a demo because the prologue is in the game as well. It's tutorial. But I thought this game was a lot of fun. It has a lot of really cool elements to it. Some things aren't as strong as I wish they would be, but overall, I think the Rift Breaker is so much fun. This is a nice hidden gem. But the story of Rift Breaker, as I said, you are playing this scientist / explorer, Ashley, who is piloted by a sentient mech named Mr. Riggs, and you are sent to a foreign planet called Galatea, and you are essentially going there and trying to establish a foundation so that the humans from Earth can come and colonize the planet. So you are trying to set the groundwork, set up an economy, set up a habitat, just basic infrastructure for humans to come down there. And what did you guys think of the story? Because I have some complaints about it, unfortunately.
I like the dynamic of the main two, the robot, I don't remember names, and the
Ashley and
main
Mr.
character.
Riggs.
Yeah, because they're kind of talking about like morality issues versus just making it easier. And so it was kind of interesting to see that kind of being weighed back and forth. So I actually did like the dialogue between them. But I mean, the story itself just, I felt like kind of faded to the background for me. So I guess I wish there was more of that.
That's my biggest complaint. I thought the story kind of ended up fading in the background. At the beginning, I felt like it was strong. Like you said, Liz, they're talking about a kind of a more dilemma of like, do we want to come to this planet and just, strip it of parts basically? And do we want to have another like stripped apart Earth? Like we need to try to preserve this ecosystem and be a little bit more responsible. And later in the game, it's just completely ignored and you still just do the thing. It's just like, all right, so much for that. But yeah, you're on an alien planet, so I think they did a well enough job that, there's no one else here. It's just you two. So it's a human talking to a robot. But I actually thought their dialogue was still pretty interesting.
Yeah, I ignored so much of it. I did not care anytime either of them were speaking. And honestly, I it's funny to me because I think back of Destroy All Humans. And if I recall, one of Liz's complaints was like, oh, they just bicker at each other and they're annoying. That's all these two did. And I get it that, it's a robot and a human. They're the only two things that can talk to each other. But it just felt too cheeky. It never felt serious, but there was too many times where I was just like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, some of the writing's not great.
Yeah, but like I said, all of that to be said as well is that largely I'm just picking up on that based on the tone of their voice, because I was ignoring the words they were saying because I was just focusing on my actual objective in front of me, which was surviving. So I wasn't really focused on whatever the heck they had to say.
Yeah, how well were you surviving, Keith?
It didn't go great. It was not going great. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
I know. I just thought it was funny because listening to you play the one time, you're like, are you serious? Can I build my base for once? They're attacking me again. Are you serious?
We're
I can't
getting
imagine
ahead
having
of ourselves.
restart the game. I can't imagine that.
No.
But yeah, I was just disappointed. I was expecting that the story would maybe go into maybe a possible choice, because Mr. Riggs, being a robot, is obviously programmed to do the thing, to really kind of break things down and to build an infrastructure. Well, your character as a human has like this moral dilemma of like, oh, do we really want to do this again and just destroy another ecosystem? Because you're kind of complaining that all these creatures are attacking you, but you are invading their planet and destroying their homes, so it's kind of understandable. So I thought there was going to be kind of more choice of like, I was hoping your character would maybe feel more conflicted that you're literally mass murdering and causing like a massive genocide of these creatures, but it doesn't.
But I mean, they did fire first.
Did they though? You landed on their planet.
Yeah, but that's just you coming there. You know what I mean? Like you didn't shoot at them first. I didn't shoot at them first.
No,
so
but
if a robber breaks in your house.
No, but that's different, because that's like, I'm talking like if you go to like a foreign country and they're like, you're an invader, and they kill you.
Yeah, but we're not talking about like this being an intelligent life force that you're landing on a planet of. It's feral aliens. They're basically wild animals that are,
Okay,
yes,
but
they're
then
alien creatures. So yeah, if you just get dropped in the middle of the Sahara, there's pretty good chance a lion's gonna attack you first. If you whether you attack them or not. You're just
And
probably
you're
in
saying
trouble.
you would feel bad about killing the lion? Because I think
Well, if I just went to the desert for no other reason other than like, I'm gonna come here and just take all your resources because I've used all my resources where I live, and then I'm like, whoa, lion, whoa, what are you doing trying to protect your land? I'm gonna shoot you now because you're a jerk.
if you're like a vegetarian or a vegan, can make the same point though. Of like, you don't have to kill animals. Do you eat meat? Because I mean, that's kind of the same thing.
No, now I have to go back like last week.
You don't have to kill cows.
Every time there's a game where there is like animal killing, Liz is like, I'm out. You didn't pet that animal. I'm out on this game. You go massacring. You go
to the animals' nests.
They're bugs.
And murder them.
They're not all
bugs.
bugs.
Not all bugs.
There's a lot of bugs.
It's mostly dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're just like these giant reptilian beasts. And you just go to their home and you're just having a free-for-all on thousands and thousands of them, their nests and babies. And that's cool because they attacked me first.
But you eat cows and their babies. What's the difference?
Yeah, because cows are delicious.
These things could be delicious.
Okay, but do you have to
you're
go
just one
killing
person.
all of them? Yeah, jeez, you're just one person.
Maybe she's hungry.
Mr. Riggs is a robot that survives on flesh.
I'm not saying that they're right for doing this. I'm just saying that everybody does something kind of equally bad.
I don't think they did anything bad. I think they were defending their home.
What? Oh, wait, no. Are you talking about the aliens?
Yeah. Exactly.
So you think that you should be murdered by cows then?
No.
Okay, I'm really confused. I don't even know where you guys stand. Are you pro killing the animals, Liz, or not?
No, I literally just said that you didn't attack them first. You could have been there to build a base but not destroy their habitat. They're just attacking you because you're there. They don't know your plans or anything. That's all I'm saying.
I think I'm just going to continue before we get to more of a heated argument. I understand where you're coming from, Liz. All I'm saying is I just was hoping that there would be more dialogue or like maybe some sort of morality of like, I feel bad that I had to kill all these creatures. There's nothing. Like, because right at the beginning, they kind of hint at it, because, your character says it to Mr. Riggs of like, we don't need to destroy this planet. We could try to preserve it. And then you literally ignore that whole element and just destroy everything anyway. Literally, you destroy forests, all the creatures. That's one thing that is kind of cool, not to get too ahead in the graphics, but just about everything in this game is destructible. So as you're shooting, blasting everything, everything's just blowing up everywhere and just loot is dropping everywhere. And I love the sight of it. So I enjoyed destroying a rainforest and massacring creatures in their natural habitat.
Says the guy who killed the baby lion.
I'm not saying I would morally do it. I just said in the context of this game, I thought it was a lot of fun.
All right, baby lion killer.
I like that you try to make it sound like you're not that bad because you're like, I'm not saying I would do it, but
because
I
know
like
you Liz. You've brought it up before.
But I am saying I had a big smile on my face while I did it.
You tried to bring it up that I tried to murder that baby lion in the Procession of Calvary. So I'm trying to cover my butt now before you start yelling at me and calling me a psycho.
Don't worry, Liz has already
I know you're going
been
to.
a confirmed genocidist on this episode.
Oh yeah, there's a game that I killed the puppies and the frogs.
Yep, Ring of Pain. You had no issues with that. You wouldn't even click the prize.
People in general are evil. So
yeah.
I'm no exception.
But yeah, so getting into the gameplay though, there's essentially two major elements. This game is a top-down action RPG, and on the same side, it is also a base management / tower defense game. So I want to first talk about the RPG hand-to-hand combat aspect of the combat. What did you guys think of that?
It was for the majority of the game what I liked the most, and then as I got further and further, it's what I liked least about the game, and I would have liked a whole lot less of it. As I guess,
really?
Yeah. So because I don't know, I'm like 99.9% sure I was just playing on medium. I know my limits. I'm not crazy. I don't go to harder difficulties, especially in a base management type of game. Heck no. I'm actually surprised I didn't pick easy. That said, all of a sudden this game went from like 0 to 100 when it came to combat. And part of it, I am well aware, is my own ineptitude when it comes to base management, to jump ahead, and that I'm sure I was not well built to fend off any alien attacks. However, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is fine, I'm fine, I can kill these waves, like I don't really have to worry about it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's 10 times as many as you just fought. Oh, by the way, there's giant rock monsters too, and there's like 8 of those, so have fun rebuilding your base. And then that happened like every 5 minutes. And I just kind of got to a point where it's like, okay, cool, this isn't really fun anymore. I'm just
weird
surviving.
Spikes.
Yeah, it like didn't make any sense. And I know you mentioned, Andrew, I know you were trying to help me along, that yes, it incurs like an extra big wave when you upgrade your base. I was not doing any of these things. I was just hanging out, minding my own business, destroying the heck out of this beautiful alien planet, just taking all of its resources. And along come these beasties. Nom nom nom, I'm gonna chomp on your base. And they did.
I mean, I think the worst part is when, so all of a sudden I upgraded my base and I got attacked. And it's like, game, give me the chance to rebuild for a second. Because then all of a sudden they're like, oh, there's another horde nearby. You need to get rid of it. And it's like, well, I feel like I should do this first. And I have to, like, I had like 10 things I need to do. And the last thing I want to do was leave my base and go to fight them. And I will say, when it comes to combat and stuff, I did take a while to like warm up to the weapons thing, where it's like they don't tell you which weapons work for which things. And it was kind of frustrating that I had to go through all of them to be like, oh, well, this works. Like, for instance, the hammer doesn't work on one of the big guys. None of the
metal
guns
ones.
did,
Yeah.
but the spear randomly did. So I did eventually like the diverse range of weapons, but I also wish that I could upgrade them.
You can.
I mean, where I am now, like you said, you can recraft them.
You can recraft them, but you do eventually learn like higher rarities of them. So there's different colors versions of them.
I didn't get to that part.
Yeah, there's like green, blue, purple, and eventually red. And depending what rarity is, you can actually add mods to the weapons and add like an extra benefit to them. Yeah.
I didn't get that far.
No, you didn't. You were close to it though. This game is a bit of a heftier game, so it's a bit longer. So for me, I think the weakest aspect was the actual hand-to-hand combat. I thought it was a lot of fun, but I think the AI is really dumb. And so for me, what I enjoyed about this game, so you are researching technology and learning new weapons, and then you craft those weapons. The arsenal in this game is really impressive. You know, you got shotguns, lasers, plasma guns, you know, flamethrowers, like ice guns, mini nuke launchers, mini nuke like landmines. Like there's just a huge array of weapons you can do in this game. But that being said, I literally only used 2 weapons. I used the spear and the mini nuke launcher. Those were like my 2 go-tos. The spear could pierce through any armor. So any of the big heavy guys, the spear was working. And the mini nuke, of course, would just take everyone out because it's a nuclear launcher. But the weapons, for me, it was so easy just to fight the enemies. Anytime there was a wave going, see, I think you guys played way too conservative. There's not really any much of a penalty for you dying. If you die, you drop a weapon that you have equipped, and then you just respawn at your base. That's it. So anytime a wave was happening, I never sat my base. I full on charged that wave and usually would take out the wave myself out in the wilderness and then wouldn't even touch my base.
Well, I think too, like I ended up utilizing the dash a lot. I think that was the best thing that helped me with combat.
Yeah. And then if you
I kind of forgot that I had it. And then when I realized I did, it was so much easier because it gives you that couple seconds to, like, for instance, like take out the flamethrower if you're being swarmed by like the little rat things, or I don't even know what they are. But it would give me that extra couple seconds to kind of like regroup.
Yeah. And then the dash, I'm assuming you didn't upgrade it, but eventually you can upgrade it to leave a fire trail or leave an ice trail or a poison trail. So just dash and you literally leave a wall of fire and the little enemies just instantly die in it. And you can take out majority of the wave just by leaving a fire trail behind.
I think for me, the worst part of combat, and I don't know who thought of this, and whoever it is needs to really rethink things and actually play a video game.
So aggressive.
Why does it save only when I'm mid-combat?
I told you, babe. It was you had it set to a 15-minute interval.
No, I did not, because I actually tested this out because I thought you were wrong, and it turns out that I was right. So I fought an enemy, and then I immediately went into like another area, started to fight, and it froze and saved. Every single time I had a combat, it froze in the middle of it and started saving. And it was the only time that it saved for me.
Yeah. Just a heads up. Whenever the game auto-saves, it kind of freezes the game for like 2 seconds. And every time this is like, game's frozen. And then I'm like, no, it's just saving. It's just saving. And then sure enough,
but
it's
why
saving.
is it only during combat for me? That is the dumbest thing. Like, I understand.
It is kind of
because you told me that, like, oh, you can go in and change it. It shouldn't be a thing. No person making a video game should be like, do you know what? Every time this player is fighting a horde of enemies, we're going to freeze it. And we're going to save the game. Like, who thought that?
I don't know about that.
Does that
Did you
happen
not
to
notice
you?
it, Keith?
I have an
No.
older Xbox, so maybe
Yeah.
that's why it froze.
No, it doesn't matter. You were
No,
playing on the cloud.
the freezing happened. The freezing definitely happened. I just, not every time I went into combat. It was definitely like on an interval, because I was looking through the settings, and there's a setting that said every so many minutes just autosave.
And that's why I said to Liz.
But like I said, I tested it after Andrew said that, because I was like, it's only happening when I fight. And then so I tested it after he told me that, and it was every single time it was in a fight. It didn't matter if it was 5 minutes or 30 seconds later. If I was fighting a new like horde of enemies, it would save.
I don't know. I can't prove you wrong, but I don't recall that happening to me, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Don't look at. I'm pleading the fifth. I'm not speaking on this part.
I'm not saying you're wrong, Liz. I'm just saying that it didn't happen to me.
I don't know why it was going on, but I tested my theory, and I just don't understand that choice.
They were just trying to help you, Liz. They knew it was possible that you might die.
And by slowing the game down, you could think your next move. and corny.
It really didn't interfere with my fighting.
No, but it made you angry. It made you angry every time. Every time I heard you scream it, why is it saving now? My game's frozen. So yeah, for me, go back to it. I thought the hand-to-hand combat was fine. I love the arsenal weapons. I loved kind of the different things you could do. But I just found the enemies to be kind of tedious and easy to kind of just kite them around. Literally just keep walking in a circle and kept poking them with a spear and took out the entire wave. But the thing that I think the Riftbreaker does so well, I loved the base building of this game. I think the base building was so much fun. I loved the tower defense, building up this massive wall of towers. Because as I said, this is a next-gen game, and it shows. The screen will literally be filled with enemies. You look at your mini-map, and it is just almost completely red with enemies. The amount of stuff that is going on during a massive wave is amazing. I love just seeing a massive wave of just flesh of enemies and just blasting away.
But I mean, so I like because you're just talking about like the base building aspect, and that kind of brings me to like my not biggest complaint with the game, but one of the big ones is that I wish that there was a way to organize my base after I already made it, because it'd be so annoying to do it with the hordes of enemies coming all the time.
Yeah.
And having that, you'd have to, if I'm correct, you'd have to sell everything, then remake it. And
That's correct.
same with like, when I upgrade the towers, I don't like that I have to go to every single tower and upgrade it. It's like, can't I just do it like for all of them? So for me, Andrew gave me some tips with setting up my base at the beginning, but you need a really big base. And I just wish that there was a way to organize it after, because, I mean, I picked a really big space and it was filling up so fast.
Well, I got some good news for you a little later on, Liz.
Whoa,
What?
that's exciting. Spoiler alert.
No, the developers had a roadmap of what they plan on improving with this game, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I do agree with you at the moment, Liz, though. Like, it is kind of annoying when you already have towers built. You have to go up to them and like physically press like, hey, upgrade this one. Okay, now upgrade this one. Now upgrade this one. It is very tedious.
Well, it's also too like the research is so slow, so you have to build multiple research centers, and then you obviously have to have more energy. So I just felt like I had like weird energy things in bad places, because I also needed a path in case, an enemy was going from my like northwest side, I'm on the other side, I need like a clear path. So I was just constantly, I felt like I wasn't doing it right.
See, that's one of the things I liked about the base building, is that you couldn't get stuck. Is that it designed it so that even if everything was right next to each other, square to square to square to square, you could walk through everything. So like you were never
you could still wiggle through the cracks.
Yeah, so it was nice because
you could walk through stuff.
Yeah, you could basically walk along the grid.
Like, yeah, as Keith's saying, if like you have like a 9x9 grid and literally it's filled with like wind generators, you can still slip through them.
Yeah, you don't have to
You
walk
can't,
around
like,
that
trap
whole
yourself.
block.
Oh.
Yeah, and you'll kind of get like not stuck, but you'll kind of like pinball your way through it a little bit sometimes. But like you can get through it all, and that's one of the things that I liked about it, is it always felt my base was very traversable. But I just suck at base building games, and that's all there is to it. Like, I just do not focus well with them. I think that in the Riftbreaker they do a good job of kind of making it somewhat linear and kind of guiding you through, like, okay, you need to do this. There's only there's some buildings that you can only build a certain amount of, so you know that, hey, these are my main buildings, and it does a good job of not hand holding but making it accessible for someone who's not even good at it. But at the end of the day, I still just end up getting overwhelmed, especially when I just felt like I was always under combat, always under attack. And I'm like, I'm just trying to do these things. And then I lost 2 of my communication centers. I lost a bunch of, like my energy stuff. So I have to rebuild all this. Like at one point I lost my entire rift. I was trying to, you were playing with me. I was trying to jump to another area because I was like, all right, I just need to take it, like, get a breather, get some resources, try to jump. Nope, my rift had been destroyed. Couldn't even jump to another rift. So it was a comedy of errors, and it's largely based on my own ineptitude, and I know that. So that's where it's like hard, because it's not the game's fault, but it's what I hated about it.
So did you like going to the other parts of the planet where you didn't have to worry about your base, like those side missions?
A little bit, yeah. But at the same time, then I just ultimately started running into the same thing there. Like, I went to the one that's like the tropical area that's super rich in all the resources, basically. I was like, okay, I'll just kind of kick back here. I was building up, and then all of a sudden it was, here comes giant wave after giant wave. And then it started to get wiped out. And then I was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't just continuously try to rebuild 2 bases. I can't do this anymore.
I think I played this game in like shorter bursts, like 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, because by 30 minutes I needed a break.
Yeah, you would keep getting way too angry.
Yeah. How long of that 30 minutes would you actually play, though? Because it kept freezing on you, so you probably only played like 10 minutes, and it was frozen the other 20.
As we said earlier, it would just be
bear,
for a
Keith.
second or two. And I don't know how that equates to 10 minutes, but that's fine.
It adds up quick.
Maybe the way you play.
I don't even know what that means.
And you were just saying you were struggle busting with the enemies.
Oh, yeah, because I was garbage at it.
Yeah. Another thing that I really struggled with, and I asked Andrew at this point if the game was glitching, because the scanner really confused me. So I got it so that it was blinking rapidly, and I was just going in a circle all over the place, and it wouldn't pop up. And then so he came over and grabbed the controller. I was like, oh, you just need to know where to look. And he just like stood along the edge for a couple seconds, and it popped up. That feature, like, I don't understand why doesn't it just come up?
It's funny because I could hear in the background Liz using the scanner, and I could hear it going fast and fast. I'm like, she's near it, but she's not finding it. I was like, I better go. I was like, I can almost guarantee she's gonna say the game's glitched.
No,
sure
I
enough, as soon as
didn't.
entered the room,
I didn't.
The game
I
glitched.
said no. I said, is the game glitched because it won't come up. And sure enough, I didn't realize that you had to know the exact spot and sit there for 5 seconds.
No,
It was
I
5
just-
seconds.
But like I said, I did not say the game is glitched. I asked if the game was glitched because nothing was popping up, and it was my first time playing.
All right. It wasn't your first time playing.
With the scanner, yes, it was.
Oh, the scanner, yeah. I thought you meant like first time playing the game.
I will say sometimes it is a bit sensitive, but it does actually. For as much as fast as it gets, it's actually still pretty noticeable from when it's like very consistent up to like when you're like on top of it. So I thought they actually did a pretty good job with it, but I can see the struggle with it, Liz. I'm not even knocking you for that one.
I mean, I obviously played this game quite a bit, so I knew how the scanner worked and like what to look for. So for me, it was just like, it's gonna be here. It's pretty easy.
Well, it's weird to me that like there isn't really a tutorial for it. So if you're not gonna have a tutorial for it, then I just feel like it should be either a bit more simple or something that could be easily figured out. Because for me, like,
popped up and told
What?
you a little.
Yeah, I mean, there's
it's not
dialogue.
like
They talked about it.
Oh,
well, how
okay.
would Keith know that? He said he didn't listen to them.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
And I also wanted to ask you guys what you thought about enemy variety. Because I felt like the different areas kind of had the same things that you would use the flamethrower for. Like I don't know if they were like rats or bugs, the itty bitty guys.
Yeah.
But did you think that there was enough diversity in the different areas?
I thought the enemies, a lot of them were largely reskins. You like as Liz said, you go, every biome has its own version of a small creature, size of a medium creature, a large creature, a ranged creature. So they're kind of reskins. I mean, they had different models. I mean, there is a lot of variants that are legitimately reskins. Because when you look at the bestiary, it shows like, hey, here's, this rhino, and there's like 5 different skins of it. But as far as actual diversity, I thought the alien creatures were cool looking, and I thought there was a nice range of them. And like I said, it's really cool when it's just filling your screen with just all these enemies.
It was kind of nice when one would pop up, and I was telling you about, I thought they were freezing me, but you said it was lightning. They would teleport, and that guy showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, they're like assassins.
Yeah, and I had no idea what to do. So I did like that every once in a while you'd get that little surprise.
Yeah, there was the
It's not a pleasant one.
There were some invisible ones too, or is
Yeah.
it were those the same ones?
No, these are different ones. The ones Liz
I
was
don't think-
fighting,
I don't think
they
I
kind of look like
They're blue
yeah, they're like giant, honestly spider-looking.
wizards.
Yeah,
I don't know if I saw those. I had the invisible guys though.
yeah.
I think I'm just bad at explaining what they look like because I described them to Andrew and he's like, I don't remember seeing those. And then he saw the screen. He was like, oh yeah, those guys.
Well, because you kept calling them lizards, I think, right?
No, I kept saying they were freezing and teleporting because I just saw the blue and I assumed it was freezing me.
Yeah, but no, even though it literally looks like lightning.
Blue means ice, always.
I just think of like Sub-Zero.
But no, I thought the enemies are cool. But Keith, I do agree with you though. This game isn't very like noob friendly. If you are someone who kind of struggles with micromanaging or just focusing, and like if you're someone who just kind of ends up dilly-dallying, you're going to struggle with this game. Because I do agree with you, Keith. Once your base starts getting destroyed, it's kind of frustrating to build it back because you don't even remember what got destroyed. Half my base was destroyed, but I don't know what was there. My base is so scattered as it is because the way when I first played, my base was literally like, here's a 20 by 20 grid, little base, little walls. But then, I built another layer, another wall. And like, it was just like base and a base and a base and a base. And I had like 8 layers, and it's just like everything's just jumbled everywhere. And it gets crazy. The size of your base gets insane at the end of the game. But yeah, the game has a tutorial kind of. It's like I said, it's the prologue. And they teach you the very basics of this game. And I do agree with you, Keith, there too, where I think the game does a good job, not hand-holding you, but yeah, it guides you. Like, it takes a while for you to get technology. So it's like, hey, now you got this structure. Now you got this structure. Now you got this structure. So you kind of learn how you're building and snowballing your base. But yeah, once half of it gets destroyed, it's kind of like, crap. What am I missing now? What do I need to do? What do I need to pick up here?
Oh yeah, because it doesn't tell you what's destroyed,
yeah,
right?
They just say building destroyed, tower lost.
That happened to me during I think it was during the tutorial.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wish I knew what was just destroyed. But when I started playing the real game, I remember I was asking you if I was doing enough for defense. It's like, you're probably doing too much. But I'm glad that I did it because I feel like I was learning to teleport and stuff. I'd always forget that I could teleport back to the base, and I was like so thankful that I had like the 2 layers of gates. So I feel like as a noob I was over cautious, and it kind of benefited me.
No, I think there's something to be said for that, and it's you were probably better off than I was because I just rode a little bit of my cavalier confidence through the game, and again, so this is where I probably went very, very wrong. I think I built a total of like 40 walls ever. I was like, I just didn't, I don't know. I don't envision things, and I know it's just build a square, whatever. I'm like, I get so bored with tedious little things like that I'm like, I don't know, I'll just build a bunch of towers. I'll fight it off. I'll deal with it. And
I love the tedious stuff.
Did you play the prologue, Keith?
I think so. I don't remember. Is there an achievement for it? Because that's probably about the only way I could tell you.
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know off the top of my head. I want to say I did. But I actually,
you lose at the end of it. You have to lose at the end.
Oh, then I don't think I did, because I don't remember doing that. And now that I'm actually even thinking about it more, I think I just assumed it was almost like hey, here's bonus content after you've played the game. So I was like, just new game.
It's called a prologue, not an epilogue.
That doesn't mean it can't be like bonus content where it's like, oh, hey, like, have you ever heard of a prequel? Sometimes additional content.
That's a prequel. Yeah. Do you ever buy a book and it says prologue and you go, I'm not going to read this part. This must be extra content.
No,
for later.
Because I don't read books.
I guess you do. Yeah, just audiobooks.
I don't even do audiobooks.
I think you're Audible. Whatever.
Oh, I still pay for Audible. That doesn't mean I listen to audiobooks.
But I think it's funny. There's an achievement to put like 21,000 blocks of walls. Like, this game clearly is trying to tell you need to build a crap load of walls. You only built like 40.
I just got so annoyed trying to build the walls. I would end up like jittering one little square, and then my wall was off, and then I'm all anal about it. I'm like, nope, it has to be a fully straight wall. I can't have that weird little notch there. And so then I have to stop to delete that piece, rebuild it. I hate walls. I don't.
Were you holding A and like stretching the wall out?
No.
Oh my God, Keith! You were building the wall piece by piece.
Yes.
Oh my God! You're supposed to hold A and stretch the wall.
Oh.
Oh my God! Okay.
Do you notice how nice I am to Keith when he does something dumb? I don't say anything.
I mean,
but you just get so sarcastic with me.
That's who I am as a person.
I just want to point out that you're not perfect. I'm like just relishing in this moment.
Oh, I know full well. I will accept my flaws, and I will embrace them.
Can you upgrade the walls eventually? Yes. Because that was something that irritated me, where I felt like the progression in the game was good, but there are some things that I was like, I feel like I should be able to upgrade these walls by now.
every building can be upgraded. Most buildings upgrade to level 3. Besides your like big buildings can upgrade to like level 9, like your headquarters, your research facilities, those can get upgraded past level 3. But everything can get upgraded to at least level 3. And yeah, level 1 walls suck. Like
But
once you
I
get to 3,
think
they're
that should
really
be
good.
one of the first things that you upgrade, because I was getting like the flame towers, the artillery towers, and I was constantly looking at my trees and looking to see when I could upgrade the walls, and it just wasn't happening.
Because you had to upgrade your headquarters. Every time you upgraded your headquarters,
How many times?
like I said, the headquarters you can upgrade it like 9 times.
No, how many times do you have to upgrade it in order to
I
get
think
better
level
walls?
3. It's either level 3.
Do you know
or
what?
4.
I was dilly-dallying about not upgrading my headquarters,
Yeah,
specifically
'cause you
because I
knew-
didn't want the attack again.
Yeah.
Because like after the first attack, then the enemies kept coming afterwards, and I was like, I don't want to deal with that right now.
Question: do you think does increasing the headquarters level increase the size of waves?
Yes, it does.
That's probably part of my problem too. Because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna upgrade the heck out of my base. I think it was like a level 3 or 4, like pretty early on.
Yeah,
in the
that's when
game.
you start getting the rock giants and the waves and stuff like that.
That'll do it.
That's why you need to like upgrade your headquarters, research the new technology that became available, then upgrade your headquarters again. So you have stronger structures and stronger towers for the incoming waves. You just kept upgrading the headquarters.
Howdy.
Okay.
That all makes a lot of sense. This is what I'm saying though. This is where I am god awful when it comes to base management games. I don't focus well. I don't like think about what I'm doing. I play video games in the moment. I do not think ahead on my moves.
So if you replayed this, do you think you would like it with the knowledge that Andrew just gave you?
I would do better, and I would probably be less frustrated with it. I still don't think I'd want to start from the beginning. I think I would get too annoyed. Because again, it's just, even knowing that, okay, yeah, I construct my walls, I can make it easier to do that, it still feels tedious to me. It's obviously so much quicker there, but just, I don't know, again, plotting and building all the stuff, especially in an environment where I don't do a good enough job of that in base management games, where it's like, hey, you basically pause your game when you do building. There's no pausing your game in this. Well, I guess if you go to your skill trees and stuff, it pauses the game. But like, you don't pause to do your building. The world happens around you. Oh, you accidentally hit a nest of creatures while you're trying to build? You gotta fight those off first. A wave is coming in. Gotta handle that. Like, there's no stopping. And I don't think I'd want to do it again.
Yeah, what you just said reminded me of was sometimes I would go against an enemy I wasn't prepared for. So my idea was like, I'll just get away. But as I'm running away, I'm attracting all the other monsters around me. And I'm like, oh crap.
I think you do this in a lot of video games. You think, I'm going to run away from people by running farther into the forest or something like that. You do this all the time. It's like, no, run back to where you came from, where you know you cleared.
And I know when I'm doing it, it's just this instinct to run.
I know, and you run the wrong direction every time.
I mean, it does line them up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. But yeah, I do it in all the games.
You do, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess now's good as time as any, since I've already done it. Here's some pro tips for when you're playing this game. When you first start and you're building your very first base in the campaign, make sure your location is really good. I recommend you are either, surrounded by partially some mountains, because creatures cannot climb mountains. They cannot, climb up from valleys. So if you put yourself between a natural wall, that can help you defend your base. I also highly recommend you are maybe near a geothermal vent or water or sludge. But it is very important, your very first base, you pick a good spot for it, because it is going to be there the entire game. And you're just going to keep growing that particular base. You are building other bases later on, jumping to different parts of the planet. Those bases aren't as detrimental, because you're only there for a little bit, setting up, a facility and then leaving. It's your main base you really got to be careful of. As I told Keith, when you're building walls, whole day and stretch it out. That's how you can build your walls. If you are upgrading structures to having higher levels of them, so like if you researched mining level 2, if you hold left trigger while you're building, it'll instantly build the higher level structure. That I literally did not learn that tip until the last hour of my game when I was playing, and I was so pissed.
Yeah,
it took me that long to figure it out.
That sucks. That one's just a screen loading tip. I actually knew about that one. So for all the things I didn't know, I knew that one and Andrew didn't. Haha, I did that and you didn't.
I know it would have saved me so much time. Because when it comes to the end game, it's kind of frustrating. The end game is essentially, honestly, like a race against time. Because as I said, you're building these other structures that are, harvesting uranium or palladium, but a lot of your structures are continuously consuming it. And so the final fight, which is insane, you have to activate this giant portal that you built around your massive base. And, if you're running out of that resource, it stops the time and you have to go to that base, build up new mining facilities, and go through this whole thing just to go back and start the process over again. So it's a little bit of a balancing act near the end of the game. But I thought the end fight was incredibly fun.
See, I don't know if I'm kind of jumping in a weird way because, that does sound cool. I feel like it would be fun to, go in, for me personally, to go into, hey, this is already set up scenario. You just have to, do the fight because that actually does sound fun. Getting myself built up to do that is a whole different story. But, I don't know. I guess I was thinking again, you talk about this being a tower defense game, and it kind of is. But again, in my mind, and this is where I mentioned earlier, I have issues. The tower defense, almost like I was talking about, build phases. So this is where it didn't feel like a tower defense as much. It was just a building management game at the end of the day. And so that's just a small gripe I have. And I know it's minor, but I've been thinking about it.
I know. I see where you're coming from because I know a basic tower defense game is, enemies are running through a lane and you're just blasting them. But this game, the enemies always attack whatever structure they're closest to. So, they always will go for a wall. They'll always go for the generators. They will always just keep attacking whatever structure they're close to.
They will somewhat redirect, actually. I don't know if you ever noticed that. If they get backed up enough and you have a natural wall or something, they'll run around and attack something that's at the bottom. Just not like a gotcha, but I actually didn't notice that. And kind of cool that they're somewhat smart in that way. Hey, it's going to take me way too long to attack something. I'm just going to go find something else to attack.
Yeah.
Well, I remember at one point when I was playing, I accidentally led all the enemies back to my base.
Yeah, I remember that.
I attacked the base, not me. And I was like, wait, will they follow me? And he was like, no, no, they're going to attack your base.
He took out a couple structures. Yeah, that's pretty funny. But there was another game mode too. I'm assuming you guys probably didn't play it at all. There was a survival game mode as well. Did you guys try it out?
I opened it up just enough to get the achievement for getting 50% of the map without building anything, and that was how much survival I played.
Survival, honestly, isn't that great. It's honestly just a campaign in a much smaller dose. So things are just moving quicker in it. But besides that, you just got to live for 45 minutes or so. It's a really small bite-sized version of the campaign. So it's okay. But as I said before at the beginning of the game, I think the art style and the graphics of the Riftbreaker are really cool. I loved, first of all, the environments I think are really gorgeous. I think this is a really cool alien planet, but I just love seeing the sea of monsters. I will say, I don't know if you guys got far enough where the waves were big enough. There was a couple times my frame rates were dropping and the game would get a little choppy and slow, which is completely understandable for the amount of stuff that is literally going on my screen. But I didn't find the hiccups to the slowdown to be too bad. It only lasted usually a few seconds before I wiped out a good 1,000 creatures.
I didn't notice that at all for me. And I really liked when there'd be a random sandstorm on the other part of the planet.
Yeah.
And the visibility was really low. And I felt like they were constantly changing the environment or to get really, really windy. And so I like that they switched up a lot.
Yeah, the environment stuff was sometimes really good for you and sometimes really bad for you.
Yeah, I did like that aspect of it, and this is one of those places that I don't have anything bad to say about Riftbreaker. It like you said, the graphics are great. I don't know. I guess maybe I just don't understand how cloud gaming works. I assumed that having a Series X would make the game run slower. I understand that it's running on a Series X, but I don't know. It's magic in my opinion. That said, I never had any frame rate issues. Honestly, I thought the save issue was because I was running cloud. So that was the only thing I thought I ran into cloud based, but even just based on the game. But I don't think I got again as far as you did with as big of waves.
So overall though, what did you guys think of this game playing cloud?
I thought it was
Any
awesome.
issues?
I've been playing the heck out of cloud. Just as another topic, but that's something we can save for a news episode. But yeah, I thought this was fantastic. It was I clicked on the button. Within a minute, I was playing it, and it loaded faster than like a lot of 1X games that I play. So it was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot faster than just playing on my regular old Xbox. The only thing that stinks, because I used Andrew's account, so I didn't get like my own separate achievements. But I mean, I kind of didn't care either. I actually got Andrew one.
Yeah, you helped me. Yeah.
Ooh, way to go,
But
Liz.
did you guys find any latency issues at all? Latency. Like, did the game seem like it was lagging?
Oh.
Occasionally, it's hard to explain, and because I've noticed on other games it does this too. Is it like it has like this weird half-second judder, and then I would notice it's like
the screen clears kind of thing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so it would like clear down the screen, and it would do that usually like if there was like a quick uptick in movement, but after it did that, it would be fine. Like it just needed to catch up for a half a second or so. But you carried on, and honestly, with the way that the saves went, it just felt like a save at that point. It just didn't save, so I didn't really mind that. So as much as I still want a Series X, it is awesome now that I don't feel like I'm limited at least as long as something is on Game Pass. So like I can't play it if it's a Series X game. Cloud is amazing.
I will say I played this game a good amount on actual mobile on my phone, and I thought it worked really well. Like, I thought even on a phone screen, I thought it was still very easy to kind of see what structures I was doing and how to build my base and everything like that. So I actually think this is a really good mobile xCloud game as well.
I almost feel like building would be easier in some ways. With like touch controls, you could like touch where you want to build something. Maybe not.
It would be. I will say this game definitely, you could tell it was more designed for PC. The way your cursor, your build cursor moves.
Oh, it would be way better on PC.
But I thought it was just fine on console.
Yeah.
Personally. But yeah, so then what did you guys think of the sound design?
I was trying to think about this earlier, and I don't think I could tell you I remember it.
I remember the sounds like from like the bass and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember any music or anything, and I thought it fit for what it was.
Yeah, I thought the conversations between Ashley and Riggs were pretty good. I thought some of the writing was a little cheesy and kind of goofy, and like some of the dialogues they say were kind of lame. But I thought the actors did a good enough job that I was relatively invested in these characters, which is good because they're the only two characters basically talking the entire game. But yeah, there isn't too much music. But when the horde is coming and you just hear all these creatures and the explosions and everything going on, I actually enjoyed the sound effects. I didn't think it was anything amazing. I wish this game probably had a better soundtrack because there is some music, but honestly, it just fade in the background.
I was gonna say, I feel like it'd be better done on headphones. I think I played this game largely without, except when I was talking to you. So that's where maybe I didn't notice it because I kind of just keep the TV quiet and just enough that I can hear it. But I did like the sound of the hordes and stuff. Like that was cool for sure.
And then, of course, though, trying to move this along because I know this episode's getting a little bit longer. The achievements. And as far as the achievements go, I think the Riftbreaker does a really good job. There's some big achievements, though, that require just a lot of game time. That's why Liz was able to help me get one, because there was one where you have to use a rift jump like 120 times or something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah, I made it sound like I got you like a full out achievement, but no,
you just helped the progression of it. Yeah, so
I still got it.
It popped up while you're playing.
appreciate
It counts as yours. Let's take that off Andrew's total for the month.
I appreciate it because I am at 930 gamer score.
Dang.
There's literally 2 achievements I do not have, and I might end up getting them. One of them is the build 21,000 blocks of wall, which I'm only halfway to, and then the other achievement is
Can't you just go to another part of the world and just start laying walls?
I did that actually for a while, and I'm only halfway, and that's why I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. This is going to take a long time.
Geez.
Yeah, I did that. I just was throwing walls everywhere, and it still barely progressed me. What was the other one I want to have? There's another one that takes a lot of work, so I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. But yeah, overall, the achievements, you're getting a lot of them just by playing the game. So I think the achievements are great. I don't know if I recommend it for achievement hunters because, as I said, this is kind of a hefty game. You're looking between 23 to 36 hours. I think I clocked at like 28, maybe 30 hours. But yeah, it's listed for completionists, may take you up to 51 hours. So this is a bit of a longer game, especially too, as I said, at the end, it's kind of a race against time. So if you're struggling juggling these multiple bases, it can take you longer.
Yeah, See, this is one of the things that it's so weird because I am not an achievement person. Well, I am. I have a good amount, and I love getting them. It's one of the things that I like playing about Xbox. It's just like a weird satisfaction thing, and that was what killed me. I think I got 70 score on this game. I felt like I wasn't getting. Because I wasn't expanding properly, and I wasn't playing the game right. So I just felt like I invested all of this time, and ultimately did nothing. And that's what. Well, am I getting too early in my wrap up?
No. Well, before you do, I said a little bit to some news that'll make Liz happy. So the developers just released a roadmap for this game a couple days ago. So this just happened recently, but they basically broke down what is going to be coming to the Riftbreaker. So by the end of 2021, they said they're improving a lot of quality of life stuff. Namely, they did say that they were going to have the option where you can upgrade multiple things with just the touch of a button. So, as Liz was saying, it's kind of annoying to upgrade a tower one at a time. They're fixing that. They're going to make it so you can upgrade multiple towers with just the push of a button. They're coming out with a world editor, a mission editor. They're coming out with more custom campaign difficulty. And they're coming out with extended endgame. That's supposed to happen before the end of this year, so sometime this month. Now, in January of next year, they said they plan on coming out with the first expansion. They're coming out with new biomes, new creatures, new weapons, more balancing stuff. And then later in the pipeline, they said this will probably be in another 2 or 3 months, but they are coming out with online co-op. They said that as their top priorities to do online co-op. They may come out with other multiplayer games, such as a versus mode, but they at least want to get co-op. And I think this game would be so much fun with co-op.
I was just going to say, I think I would like this game 1,000 times more if it was co-op.
I think it would be really cool with co-op. So I cannot wait for that update. When that comes out, would you want to play with me, Liz?
I would play.
Ah, sweet.
I honestly, that would put me back on it because
I think it'd be a game changer.
Yeah, because what was Drake's Hollow? It was one of those games where I felt like I could do my sort of aimless thing, still be helpful, and then you could do like your thing where you're really good at base management, and Liz, I think you were the same. Like we just keep Andrew stocked up on all the things he needed. He'd help us build. We'd help do the fighting when it came time to do that. Online co-op is like the way to go for a game like this for me. Also, custom campaign editors. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting too much excitement behind it of what it could be, but I think of again like a StarCraft or a Warcraft, and the types of things that like people came up with were so cool. Yeah. So if it's gonna be like that level of customization that people can put into it, and they can come up with some cool like side modes or whatever, that would also get me, I think, interested again.
I'm not 100% sure, though. I couldn't see anywhere if this is for both the PC version and the Xbox version.
I'm sure it will trickle to the Xbox inevitably.
Eventually, yeah, but probably not when it originally comes out for the PC version. But this is on Game Pass PC as well, so you could try this game there if you do have a decent enough PC. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the future of Riftbreaker. I'm definitely, when they come out with the first expansion, I'm sure I'm going to buy it. I want more of this game.
I don't think I'd buy the expansion. I think I would stop there, but I would get back in for some online co-op. Yeah.
So getting into our final thoughts here, I absolutely love the Riftbreaker. Of course, I picked this game. I think this was a lot of fun. It has so many elements that I love. I love real-time strategy games. I love base management games. I love tower defense games. I love twin-stick shooters, RPGs. And this game just has so many different elements of those. Yes, some of the elements aren't great. I thought the actual hand-to-hand combat was kind of weak. The enemies were pretty easy to fight, just to kite around and just poke at. But I thought the base building was a lot of fun. I thought it was so cool by the end of the game, just how massive my base was and how many enemies are just swarming my base. The game just gets insane, and I loved every minute of it. I had so much fun with this game. Like I said, one of my biggest gripes, I hated the cover art of this game. I forgot to still bring that up during the graphics. It is the goof, like the girl looks so goofy in front of the robot. But anyway, that's just a really minor gripe because it's just cover art. But yeah, I think Riftbreaker is a ton of fun. I do agree. This probably isn't a very noob-friendly game. It can be pretty hectic. But once you get the systems down, I think this game's a blast. I'm giving it a 90.
Alrighty. So it's my job to go because Liz has to go last. So I'm still just in such a weird place on this game because I it's kind of one of my classics. I don't have anything bad to say about it. The graphics are really good as a whole. I think it shines and shows off of what Xbox is able to do with cloud gaming, and it's awesome from that aspect. I'm so bad at real-time strategies. I'm even worse at them when you put a controller in my hand, and the game does a good job when the gameplay is good with a controller still. I'm all over the place. I don't focus well. I get frustrated. I get bored. And I just want to go do something that I can just focus on living in the moment when it comes to video games. So I just really struggle as a whole with these games. But everything's good about it. So there's that. So if you do like these and you're good at them, I'm with Andrew. Definitely play it. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll give it a 78 because it's good enough that I know but that's just like I'm going on a personal score though, I guess, because like
I'm surprised it's that low.
I guess I wanted the 78 is just as a personal, like, I just don't like the gameplay just as a genre, but that's like as high as I can go because it's like I feel like 80 is where it's like that's a good game, and that's where it's definitely like falls into a game range for me is 80 and above.
Well, now it's awkward because I was going to give it an 80. Is that too low?
I mean, no.
Well, you give it a game, so I agree with you.
I mean, so personal score, I'm going to give it an 80. I think there's a lot to it that is really great. But for me, being able to, it sounds so silly that I'm like so hung up on being able to change my base, but easier. Being able to edit the base and multiplayer, my score would just skyrocket. I really do think that would really make me love the game a lot more. Looking at Metacritic, 80 and 7.2. And one of the reviews I found is just so weird that I just had to pick it. So, a critic who gave it a 73 said, "For people that love Stardew Valley and wanted to see it collide with the kaleidoscope of other genres with a sci-fi coat of paint, are in for a ride. For those that shudder at the sounds of the word Stardew Valley, avoid."
Why would you compare this game to Stardew Valley?
I love Stardew
Valley. Put it in the wrong game?
It's like comparing this game to Madden. If you love Madden and chasing people,
well,
you're going to love
wondering if
Rift
they
Breaker.
accidentally put it under the wrong game. Because all the other reviews would actually say, like, oh, the Rift Breaker and stuff. So I'm like, I know I'm on the right page.
I don't know.
No.
Because, I mean, Stardew Valley is a farm management.
Paint, yeah.
And this is a base building management. It's
no,
very
but even, so
the
different.
Mining is different. Like
everything's different about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing close about it.
Both games you manage something. That's it.
Yeah. So I think it's more like saying like FIFA and Madden are the same game. Like they're both sports.
Yeah.
And both of them are also called football. But neither of them are the same game.
Are there any listener reviews?
I posted the picture late, so at the moment, no. But if there are, I'll edit it later in the episode.
You know what we should start
probably
doing?
Not.
We should start having people guess our scores.
Yeah.
What are we gonna? Although Liz might get too worried about her score then. Like, oh no, people are gonna think I'm so mean. I'm gonna rate it so much lower than they guessed.
I don't know, because I don't want. I'm afraid that might influence our scores, though.
My score is very easily influenced.
Well,
to be honest.
That is true. I made you lower your score during Into the Pit.
Maybe we can figure out a system.
Maybe that could be kind of fun. But yeah, so getting into our fun, no, because I already did that. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here. If you have any game suggestions, please email us at gamepassgrabbag@gmail.com. We're on Facebook at gamepassgrabbag and Twitter at gbgbpod. I feel like there was something else I was going to announce, but no. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live, Firebird 01952.
I've been Keith, and I'm gonna riff drop on out of here.
And I'm Liz Noob, gamertag coming on Dean, and I'm on Twitter at LizNoobNoobIzEW.
All right, everyone. We love you all. We hope to see you again next week.
Bye guys.